Y'all see this? Full stop. I really don't like when I see news articles that say things like, oh, deep red Mississippi. Let me show you exactly how wrong you are. Here is a map of New York's last gubernatorial election by county. Here is a map of Mississippi's last gubernatorial election by county. Here's a map of New York's last gubernatorial election by precinct. Here's a map of Mississippi's last gubernatorial election by precinct. We are not a deep red conservative state. We are a state that is primarily controlled by Republicans because of the extremely oppressive laws that make it so hard for us to fight back. And two, people like you, our Democratic neighbors all across the country, don't invest in us, don't believe in us. So the Democrats here, the Democrats in Mississippi end up having to fight back alone without the investments of our national leaders, without the investment of our neighbors. And it's hard. And even though it's so hard, they find different creative ways to organize with zero money, with zero support. And we've seen for the last 10 years, Republican leaders in Mississippi have won by shrinking majority. In 2015, wasn't even close. But then in 2018, the special election for Mike Espy, you saw one of the most competitive elections in Mississippi in a long time. And then 2019, our gubernatorial election, the Republican governor only won by 52%. And in 2023, our last gubernatorial election, Republicans won by 50.4%. So these wins you saw last night is a culmination of years of hard work, years of fighting back with zero resources and zero support. A large part of the Democratic National campaigns are to rev up votes in urban populated areas, and they don't spend resources in rural communities. That is a mistake. If you want to be a part of a future where a place like even Mississippi turns blue, you have to get out into those rural communities. You have to get out to talk to people in the most desolate and isolated places, and particularly in the South. That's where your Black Democratic voters are located. Take me. I'm from the Mississippi Delta, and I'm super excited.
Look at God, my God today. Mississippi just broke the supermajority. Oh, this is amazing. We were on my live earlier tonight wondering about Mississippi, and we were just waiting for the information to come out, and I did not know if other people flipped. Oh my goodness. Brother Reginald retained his Senate seat, as well as Uncle Johnny Dupree. This is a good night. It is. I know that big baby crying.
This is a big deal for the Democrats, but it's not really a blue wave in Mississippi. Democrats gained 3 seats in the Mississippi legislature, and they ended the 2/3 supermajority in the state Senate. Mississippi had special elections last week, some because of redistricting and some to replace vacant seats. Democrats gained 1 seat in the House and 2 seats in the Senate.
It shows that Mississippians, they believe in what we've always believed in and what we stand for and what we are going to come into the 2026 regular legislative session fighting for.
This is a big deal for the Democrats, but it's not really a blue wave in Mississippi. Nothing really about the political DNA of Mississippi has changed, because this was really the direct result of litigation and redistricting in Mississippi. To explain a little bit, the NAACP a few years ago filed a lawsuit against the state, arguing that there were not enough majority black districts in the state whenever the legislature redistricted itself a couple years ago. A federal court agreed and ordered the legislature to redistrict again to give black voters in Mississippi a fair shot at electing a candidate of their choice. As a result, Democrats were able to pick up seats in these 3 areas. Again, this really doesn't change a whole lot in the state and in the legislature, but Democrats can use this new political leverage maybe as some bargaining power or to get some deals. In reality, there's very little that requires a 2/3 majority in the legislature already, but it does require a 2/3 supermajority for some things. Take this past session, for example. Republican House and Senate leaders couldn't reach a deal on the budget, and there was an effort to try to suspend those deadlines and extend the session a little bit. Well, to do that, you would need a 2/3 majority to agree to do that. Well, if there's a strict party line vote, Republicans would need some Democrats to go along with that in order to pass that. Republicans will still be able to control a large part of the legislative agenda, and Republicans will still have a 3/5 supermajority, which is what is needed to pass tax bills, revenue bills, bond bills, a lot of things that deal with money. Republicans could still do that without any Democratic support. The only reason that this happened is because of this litigation that was brought under the Federal Voting Rights Act. And this is something that is currently before consideration and review at the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court may consider part of the Voting Rights Act unconstitutional, the very part that black voters brought this lawsuit forward in the first place. We could be looking at the last time that black voters in Mississippi could bring a lawsuit like this forward. Go to MississippiToday.org for more information.
We are all celebrating the Democratic wins, which is amazing, but I want to talk about something else that's important. Mississippi, a red state, showed up and showed out. Democrats flipped 2 state Senate seats, and they broke a supermajority in one of the reddest states in the country. When you break a supermajority, you block the ability to steamroll policy. That means more negotiation, more accountability. That is representation. That is power shifting. That is voters coming out and saying, I've had enough and no red state is off limits. These flips are the cracks in the wall before it falls. Pay attention. This is how power changes.
What's up, y'all? It was a good night last night, but one thing that I don't think many people are talking about is what happened in Mississippi last night. Because this is close to me locally here. Mississippi's my neighbor to the south, and I am excited for the Democrats and what they did last night in Mississippi. They were able to pick up House seats and Senate seats due to a special redistricting election, right? So they were able to do something that is going to allow change to possibly be made. Due to this redistricting, Democrats picked up 2 seats in the Mississippi Senate and 1 in the Mississippi House, and the gain in the Senate broke the Republican supermajority, reducing their majority to their chair to 34 seats in that House. They broke the supermajority last night. That is impressive. That is the momentum we need. But what we really need to remember, across the country, Democrats didn't just rebound, they dominated, and that is a good message. But we cannot rest on our laurels. We cannot sit idly by. We need to continue to use our voice and be the voice of the people and make them want to govern with us. We need to show what Democrats can do, because we know Democrats mean progress. As Obama said, you want to put the economy in drive, you got to put it in D. Republicans want to put it in reverse, in R. And it's just like that perfect thing. So we need to continue this momentum and continue working and just get out there. Use our voices and continue to use our voices and show we will not be intimidated. And we are united American people who care about the American people and not the American elites.